Hi, this is Rick Gualtieri, and this is another Tales of a Midlist Author. Today, I wanted to talk about dealing with negative reviews. This is a really hot topic amongst a lot of authors, both new and old. It's also one that can kind of go hand in hand with my other post on how to not be a jerk. But it's a very sensitive topic because, well, let's face facts. If you're taking this seriously, you've put in a lot of work into your product. You've put a lot of work into writing, editing, finding the perfect cover. You put it out there, really hoping the world likes it, and then somebody comes along, gives you a one-star review, and says more or less, "You suck." And that can really that can really be hurtful. It can cause a lot of bad feelings and such. But what I wanted to talk about really was I think what you need to do is step back and away from your feelings a little bit and deal with it in kind of almost a cold clinical sense of a business owner, because that's what you are now. If you put your product out there for sale, you're a business owner. So first off, I want to say one thing, and I want you to really listen carefully. Readers don't owe you anything. If you put your book out there for sale, somebody comes along and they purchase it, the transaction is done. It's a fair exchange of money for a product. That product is theirs now. They can do with it as they please, read it, enjoy it, spit upon it, throw it out the window, what have you. If you don't feel that's a fair transaction, then you really need to go back and look at your pricing. But in generally speaking, that's how it works in commerce, period. Think about going and buying anything. Going and buying a blender. I go to the store, I find a blender I want, I pay for it, it's mine. I can do with it as I want. I can crush ice with it. I can make stupid YouTube videos on it, crushing iPhones, what have you. It's mine. And the other thing to take into consideration is think about also that blender. If you buy that blender and it doesn't work out of the box, it doesn't crush ice, it's kind of crappy, what are you going to do? Well, you might return it, or you might go online and post a review about it. And are you really going to hold back? Are you going to think about the people in the factory who built that blender? Probably not. I know I'm not going to. I'm going to think more along the lines of, I paid money for this, it's a piece of crap, and I'm going to tell the world it's a piece of crap. Well, quite frankly, your book, and this is controversial, but I'm going to say it anyway, your book is essentially that blender. Now, you may think it's a great work of art, and that may or may not be true. The truth of the matter is, you really don't get to determine if it's art. That's kind of for history to determine. So for right now, let's just assume it's a product, because that really is what it is. The question you should be asking yourself is, why should somebody be taking your feelings into account? Why should somebody be trying to purposely be nice? So once again, using the blender argument, do you care how long it took that blender to be assembled? Do you care if it was 5 minutes on an assembly line or somebody was screwing it together by hand? Probably not. Once again, you paid for it. You're probably thinking, hey, if it works great, I'm going to tell the world. If it works like crap, I'm also going to tell the world. And there's not much more behind that. So that's the first thing is, remember, you're a product. You've just done a fair exchange of cash for goods. Why does that person owe you something? Why do they have to go by some tenet of, if you don't have anything nice to say, don't say anything at all? There's really no reason for it, and you really don't have a say in that matter. You can have a say in that matter if you go into the comments, you start complaining about it online. But once again, see my my post on not being a jerk, because at that point, there's a good chance that that's what you're becoming. Another thing, bad reviews are not bullying. Bullying is a serious topic. I have 3 special needs kids. I've seen how other kids react to them on the playground, and I get a sense of what real bullying is. I experienced that growing up, and something, bullying is not somebody going online and saying one mean thing about you. Bullying is really an overtime harassment. So let's get that out of the way. I really can't stand when people say, "Oh, I got a bunch of mean reviews." That's bullying. No, that just makes you a whiner. So first thing I would say with regards to this is, know yourself. How do you react to criticism? Are you the type who can who can look at it, read through it, glean some information if there is any to glean? If there's not, if it's just a review that says I would sooner poke out my eyeballs with a fork than read another story by this person, you might be able to laugh that off and just say, okay, have fun with that. If you're that type, that's great. You can probably work with negative reviews, learn something from them, and move on. If you're not that type, if you know you're overly sensitive, who gets upset, my advice would be very simple. Don't read them. Simple as that. Nobody puts a gun to your head and forces you to read reviews. Or likewise, you could only read if you want, read the high star reviews. Read only reviews 3 stars and above, if that makes you feel better. What you shouldn't do, though, is go online and assume that you're a victim, because you're probably not. I mean, if you've pissed off a group online and they're targeting you, you know something, I would go to the administrator of that platform and complain and say, hey, these are obviously fake reviews. If not, if you put out a book and you're just getting naturally negative reviews, I'll be perfectly honest, I would take a step back and wonder what's wrong with the book that these people are not liking. Once again, are the reviews just saying you suck? Or are they saying you suck because your characters are poor, your plot stinks, there's no editing? Well, you know something? If it's more that latter, you should take a look at your stuff with a critical eye. Use that, maybe pull that book down, rethink it, or do better on your next book. Or, quite frankly, you might just come to the conclusion, especially if you have, say, 100 positive reviews and maybe 5 negative reviews, you've just hit people who's either don't like your style or don't like your genre for whatever reason. That's not necessarily a bad thing. It means you're branching out beyond your core demographic. And when you branch out beyond your core demographic, yeah, you're going to find some people who don't like your stuff. So, one final bit of advice I will give. You sit down, you read that review, it's scathing, it talks about your book with, the fury of a thousand suns. It talks about you as an author and how they wish the pox upon you. Hey, maybe even talks about your family and about how it's like, I just hate everybody related to this person for writing this book. Take a step back, go home, sleep on it. Don't do anything. Don't write a blog post. Don't comment. Sleep on it. Because you know something? There's a good chance that tomorrow when you wake up, it's not going to seem like such a big deal. Yeah, maybe it ruins your writing day. Maybe it ruins your day. Maybe you have to go home and scream and cry, in private. But tomorrow, there's a good chance you'll wake up and say, all right, time to get on with my life. And it really comes down to what I also mentioned in another post, acting like a professional online. You're a business. Act like it. And I don't mean some of the badly behaving businesses you see out there, people screaming and crying and saying, hey, I hate my customers. Appreciate your customers. Don't treat them like crap. They paid money for your product. They deserve that respect. And they deserve to have their own opinion, whatever that may be, on your product. All right. Well, this is Rick Gualtieri, and that's about all I have to say on that subject, which is actually a lie. I could probably talk for hours on that subject, but that's enough for now. And this has been another Tales of a Midlist Author. Hope to speak to you soon. Thanks.